What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop. MLB DFS conversation starts right now. Grinders Live. Myself, Dean Shableson, Dean7904. If you want to get all technical, join today. It has been too long. It's myself and Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides, 3 entry max specialist, cash game specialist, just a DFS player specialist. Tim, happy Friday. It has been too long, I feel like. It's nice to catch up with you here on air. We got an hour and 15 minutes until crunch time jumps in here. Kevin Roth, chief mineralogist Kevin Roth. Weather looks pretty clean as far as I can tell. Let me give it a refresh, but last I saw, nothing really in our way when it comes to precipitation. Some good hitting environments. We'll talk about that, of course. Erik Beimfohr, and you got Beer and the Beast of the Night coming in about an hour and 15 or so. 6:15 on the East Coast, taking you guys all the way up block. It's Tim Buell. What's up, Tim? How are things? Happy Friday.
Yeah, I'm doing well, Dean. I think it's been over 2 months since I've been on the Grinders Live, so it has been far too long. But hey, we get to see each other every Sunday morning, at least, for the People's Show. So during all of the regular season NFL, so that'll be fun.
So we are 3 weeks away from the official opening of the NFL season. Next, in 3 Thursdays, it's going to be Philadelphia versus Dallas, and then of course that Sunday at the absurd hour, I believe 9 o'clock in the a.m. Absurd for me, not for you. You're up there. You're wide awake, probably a couple hours in. We live different lives, but yeah, you're going to be wide and good to go, as well as Bobby Gomes, the People's Show. I think 9 o'clock. Don't hold me to it. That's why you hit the like button. That's why you subscribe. That's why you turn on notifications so you know when we go live. But yeah, football. I know Ross been talking about it for a while. It is, in fact, right around the corner. 3 weeks to go until the official kickoff. College football even shorter. I think there's a game over in Ireland with, I want to say, like Kansas State and Iowa or something like that. Don't hold me to it. And there's several top 10 matchups as well. Not too far away. I think that's week 0, as they call it. But yeah, excited for football season. I know last year you maxed out with your best ball stuff. I don't feel like, speak for yourself, have you dipped your toes in the water of best ball streets or not just yet?
I'm actually going to be starting as soon as MLB locks tonight. I will be in. I can only play DraftKings and Drafters. I can't play Underdog in Maine, but yeah, I'll be in the DraftKings streets starting this evening.
I think they're still running that buy one get one. So like your second one could be free.
Wow.
I think they're still running that. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure they're still running that. Make sure you click that link there in the promos. Get yourself a free entry. And you know what? You know what's going to help you out, Tim? Fantasy Labs. They got you covered. They're your home for season-long fantasy football, not just season-long, but best ball content as well. You can get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more. You got Sean Corner, Chris Raybon, award-winning experts. They're going to help you out there. Fantasy Labs, they also have an app now. It allows you to get real-time rankings, cheat sheets, lineup advice on the go. And we also, I wouldn't mention this. I would be remiss if I did not give you the promo code. Now, Tim, I trust that you probably can you don't need the promo code. I imagine you can just get this all to yourself.
You never know. You never know, Dean. You never know.
I'll put a good word in for you if you need me to.
All right.
I'll vouch for you. Whatever that's worth. Yeah, but for everybody else watching, that's hitting that like button and subscribing. RG15, $15 off the season-long product as well as the best ball product at Fantasy Labs. You know what, Tim? I might I want to see if I can sync up and get in some of your contests. You're fresh meat. You don't know what you're doing in your first. You're like a dead team right out the gate. So hopefully, let me know when you're signing up, and I'll
I actually have been researching. I have been researching a lot of NFL and a lot of college football also, which I don't really dabble in college football, but I'm gonna try to take it a little bit more seriously this season. Yeah,
and we have good college football content here as well. I know Chop is a part of that team. I imagine Dan is still doing some stuff. DB. Tuttle, not my world, not my lane. I mean, I can tell you about RJ Harvey. I watched like UCF games last year and basically nothing else. I was on RJ Harvey before everybody else, but I don't know half the other guys, and I'm rounding down. Okay, it is a 12-gamer tonight as far as baseball. A 7-team total. 7-team total in cores for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Are locked in for 9 against Tanner Gordon, who's not good. A bullpen behind him, it's not good. It's a massive, massive total. There are some teams that will challenge that as far as pivots to get away from. The Dodgers have a team total above 5. Cheese wrote about this in his article as well, and I had a similar thought with Randy Vasquez. Like, I don't know what kind of leash they're going to give him, and the way the Padres with their bullpen is these days. Like, once he's out of the game, Vasquez is one of the luckiest pitchers in baseball this year. Maybe the Dodgers pounce early and just get the worst of the arms, but I don't know how to handle the Dodgers, and I think I'm going to be mostly staying away in the hopes that it's a fairly close game and you see some pretty good arms out of the San Diego. But I'm curious to hear your take on that. A team total of 5 for both sides in the Angels Athletics game. Kikuchi and Perkins. Perkins is looking like, he's super, super cheap, and he's thrown some strikeout. He's shown some strikeout ability, and the Angels strike out. So he's kind of popping as the SB2 on DK. And I don't know if that's good chalk. I'm curious to get your take on that. And I think the Angels are really interesting. I know leverage is a word that we kind of goof around, but I think the Angels are legit leverage tonight. We'll have that conversation too. Other teams, the Yankees have a 4.5 total. No lineup just yet. Unless I missed it. Unless it just came out. We did get Acuna back. Acuna's back for Atlanta, so that lineup does look a little bit better on the road in Cleveland. Sandy Alcantara has been horrible. He's been bad, no matter what the number is saying. Digging in on him too. I had some takes, kind of doing my research earlier. The Marlins, I'm fairly certain, still the worst team when it comes to controlling the running game. That they give up the most stolen bases in all of baseball, in part because of the battery. Ramirez, good stick, bad glove, bad arm, bad pop time. Sandy Alcantara, do you want to guess? Do you want to guess how many stolen bases Sandy Alcantara has given up this season? Throw out a number, Tim.
20.
More.
Okay.
28. 20. He's given up 28 stolen bases this year. And, I was kind of looking into it, and I was like, left on base percentage, I don't know what league averages this year, but typically it's around like 71, 72, 73%, somewhere in that area, low 70s. And Sandy Alcantara is left on base this year is 57.1%. And it's like, wow, he's been super lucky. Well, also part of it, anybody who gets the first gets the second because they steal on him. So that might in part explain it. Yeah, he's got a 6.55 ERA, and the Sierra says he's been unlucky, but also his BABIP's ahead of 300. But yeah, that was my bold call today. I thought that Hamilton was going to play for Boston, and I was going to bet stolen bases for Hamilton. He's not starting, unfortunately. By the way, I buried the lead. We're talking baseball, but what's really important? It's a film Friday, Tim. You have not participated in Friday in forever. I feel like you've been studying up. You're going to be ready to go. You have no idea what film I'm going to throw your way that people don't know either. But you get yourself a week free of RJ Premium if you tell me what film I'm talking about. Get in that Discord channel. By the way, I see TJ in chat. Say, let's get into one together. We can all coincide. I'm happy to take on you and TJ and Tim. Anybody else in the RG family? Yeah, we can all jump in the same contest in DK. And at least one of us will advance, I suppose, in theory. Maybe not. Maybe we'll all go over. Yeah, get in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. Tell me what film I'm talking about. One guess per clue drop. The first clue is scrolling right now. Producer Steve's all over it. It is Ferrari. Ferrari is the first clue. And somebody's going to guess Ford versus Ferrari. And it's not Ford versus Ferrari. Just a heads up. Because that would be silly, right? Or maybe I'm just playing a game, and it actually is. And it's just a social experiment. All right. Tim, give me your screenshot. How are we seeing this slate? The other part of it is, I think Framber Valdez is the best pitcher in the slate, and then it's a bunch of dudes that are all kind of the same. And I know Framber's been bad of late. He was in New York and he was in Boston. They beat him up. That's fine. Now he's home, where he's got an ERA sub-2. We don't talk a lot of ERA, but he's much better at home. Facing a Baltimore team, one of the worst teams in baseball against lefties. 10 of his last 11 games, he's not given up a home run. 0.49 homer per 9 on the season. So the way I see it, unless he just gets absolutely BABIP'd, a team that does not have a lot of power, a guy that doesn't give up a lot of power, all the ground balls, I'm just playing Framber. I know we live in the world of a salary cap, and it's hard to double barrel with him. And there's not even a clear and obvious second guy, which is why, in part, Jack Perkins is a thing. What is your overview? How are you seeing tonight's slate?
Yeah, I mean, when you break down kind of the more expensive guys on DraftKings, you've got Valdez, you've got Jacob deGrom, you've got Noah Cameron, who's 9,300 on DraftKings, so he kind of does belong in that, at least in that pricing tier conversation. But out of that three, it's clearly Valdez. DeGrom is facing, I think, the toughest strikeout matchup in all of baseball, so it's not really a good spot for DeGrom. It's a way, way, way better matchup for Valdez. Cameron just doesn't have the skill set of Valdez and DeGrom, so there's no chance. He is a lot cheaper on FanDuel, for the record. I think Cameron is in play on FanDuel, but he's not in play for me on DraftKings. So out of those two, Valdez and DeGrom, it's easily Valdez for me. I think Jack Perkins is going to end up being like unbelievably chalky. Like, I think he might end up being more popular than Valdez. I think
weird, right?
It's super weird. And, you know, I'm not saying that you're wrong about getting some stacks of the Angels, because clearly you can. I would prefer to play that play on like a smaller slate where like if the Angels score like 5 or 6 runs, that might win it for you, you know, like on this big of a slate. I think there are other ways that you can get different and not even have to worry about the Angels. But I'm not like, if you're building out 20 or more teams, yeah, for sure, definitely get some Angels stacks. But it's, you know, I don't know if he's necessarily a good shot, but I also don't know if like the Angels are really going to blow him up to the point that you have to have the Angels to actually win the slate. I also think that Joe Boyle is a really, really interesting play as well at 5,400.
He's the pivot off Perkins, right?
He's the pivot off Perkins, but also I think there's a case to be made out like in large field GPPs to double punt pitching and just pay for all the bats. Like, I don't think Valdez is so amazing that you absolutely have to play him today. Like in cash games, yes, you absolutely have to play Valdez, but I don't think he's in such a smash spot that you absolutely have to play him. So I think there's a case to be made to actually just double punt the position and not even necessarily play Arizona, just play another expensive stack or something like that. I think that's like an interesting way to build a team tonight.
Boyle is 5.4 on DK, and we're talking DK obviously, and we're talking about these punts, these punt pitchers. Well, I say obviously, but I think you can play. You really got to get it right on FanDuel, and like you said, there's some really good prices on FanDuel. Like guys are like 3-1, 3-2, so you can get a good pitcher, and you know you can't get Judge and Ohtani and all those guys, but a lot of good hitters around it. But on DK, you mentioned Boyle. His issue for me is pitch count, like how deep they can let him go. Last time out, they did let him throw 88 pitches, so that feels a little bit like an anomaly, but 88, before that was 71, before that was 77, and he's in San Fran. Pretty good K rate on the season, Boyle, 24.4%. In fact, it's the 4th highest on the slate. Control, walks, and it's a small sample stuff. It's only 30 innings, but 12.6% walks is not good. A lot of fly balls. Well, he's in San Fran, so the ballpark should help him out. It's a massive ballpark shift for him, jumping from St. Pete, Tampa to San Fran, advantageous to the pitcher. So I like Boyle as well. We'll talk about hitters and enough, and I don't make a lot of lineups. I am going to have one Angel stack, if not a stack, like a mini, like 3 or 4. I just feel like you're supposed to do that. But I mean, it's not something I'm forcing, and I'm also not forcing, like you said. I didn't mean to frame it in a way like you have to have Framber Valdez, because his K rate on the season's fine. It's 24%, but he's more of like an innings eater, quote unquote safe, even though he hasn't been the last 2 times out. But this Baltimore matchup at home feels like a really, really good landing for him. Yeah.
What about
go ahead.
What about Hurston Waldrop?
Man, I don't know. I don't really have a good take on him, because I don't know much about him.
Stevie from the Morning Grind wrote him up. I think he's a pretty interesting play just because of the really, really low projected ownership. Like, he's going to be right around 5%, and I don't think he's going to get steamed at all. So, like, I think at his price point, I think he's a pretty interesting play, because there's all these guys in the mid-tier, like Sean Manaea, Kikuchi, Charlie Morton. They're all fine. Like, they could all conceivably win the slate, I suppose. But, Waldrop does save you a little bit of money, and he is going to save you a lot in total ownership as well. So I think he's somewhat interesting. I don't know. I think he's worth considering, at least.
I don't really have a good take on him. I will say he's probably the greatest Hurston to ever play baseball ever. We power rank the Hurstons. That's a new name to me. I've never heard that before. Hurston.
I don't know. I don't know of another Hurston.
Yeah, I never met a Hurston. But Cleveland obviously much worse versus lefties. We don't have a big sample size on him, so it's hard to kind of get a gauge. It's 11 innings. The Ks were fine. The walks were okay. He was fine. I think he took on the Marlins, if I'm not mistaken. Was that his main start? Did he jump out of the pen?
Yeah, but he also had a decent start against the Reds, I'm pretty sure.
75 pitches his first start, and then 89 versus Miami. Solid both games. I just don't know. I wish I had a take on it, but my hope is just that he's not great. But I don't disagree. Like, he's in the pool, I guess, because the rest of the names you can sort of poke holes in. By the way, we've had several scratches. Brandon Donovan's been scratched. Alan Roden's been scratched for Minnesota. Do they have somebody worse than Alan Roden they put in the lineup? Because that Minnesota team, it is rough these days. Was Julien in the lineup before? Which, by the way, shout out to Julien. Probably the most unlikely homer of the year was Julien homering off of Tarek Skubal yesterday.
That was great. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was the first homer that a lefty has got on Skubal this year, and I would never guess it would be Julien, the guy to do it. But shout out to him. And Josh Naylor. Did I say Josh Naylor? Josh Naylor also scratched. So 3 scratches, which is it seems like basketball season, right? No Baltimore lineup just yet. Did we get the Yankees? We did. Grisham, Rice, Judge, Bellinger, Jazz, Volpe, Dominguez, McMahon, and Caballero in the 9-hole. Don Yeezy wants to know if you like Bassett, you like the Hound. I mean, he's just not cheap enough for a guy that has not a lot of upside. That's
I really don't, Yeezy. I really don't. I don't really like Bassett that much. I would prefer playing some of those other guys that we mentioned, like a Manaea, Kikuchi, even a Charlie Morton. I'd almost rather just take a shot on Waldrop, to be honest with you. I get it because he's got a really nice pitch count and things like that, but I don't really like him that much.
Matchup versus Texas, 20.9% collectively as far as Ks. Some power spread in there. I know we kind of goof on Peterson, but in theory, he's got some power against righties still, and that's where Bassett's been most vulnerable. 199 ISO, 366 WOBA this season. His splits have been really, really dramatic, and we're looking at Smith, Seager, Peterson, Carter, Tellez. That's 6 by my count. Wait, no, that's 5. Forgive my counting, but 5 lefties. Seager, I think, is a pretty awesome play tonight. Rowdy Tell is another sort of cheap option. If you're looking for ways to get there, I talked about it in a different show. It didn't quite get there, but Jock Jams and Rowdy, they're both potential pinch hit risks, but they are really cheap against a pitcher that is vulnerable to righties. But we can always count on one extra viewer, Tim, whenever you're on. Our guy Broccoli Boy's in chat. So what's up, Broccoli? Broccoli hanging out in chat, joining the conversation. Do hit that like button and subscribe and turn on those notifications. I know Broccoli's got those notifications turned on. Somebody did, in fact, say Ford versus Ferrari. I just checked out the live stream chat. That was guessed. It is not Raiders of the Lost Ark or House of Gucci or Miami Vice or National Treasure or Boiler Room or Sleepers or Fly Boys. I don't think I know what Fly Boys is. All right. Get your guesses in. We'll go ahead and drop the second clue here for Film Friday. First clue again was Ferrari. The second clue for Film Friday is relax. Ferrari and relax. That is your first 2 clues. Tell me what film I'm talking about. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NBA, MMA, PGA, WNBA, everything with the exception of NASCAR. All right. Other names that may or may not be interesting. I can go ahead and check and see ownership stuff. I want to give a refresh when it comes to ownership. Well, let me ask you this. Cash games. Are you playing cash games tonight or no? I know sometimes you dip in those streets.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to be playing tonight. I'm just going to be playing one single entry team. But I think in cash, I'd be going Valdez Perkins, as much as that pains me. But I think I would just go that way because I think you have to get to some Arizona that we'll talk about in cash. So I think you got to go Valdez Perkins.
You know what's interesting is our ownership has kind of changed a little bit here. We have Boyle and Perkins at the same, which Boyle is cheaper. He's 5'4", Perkins is 5'9", and we're kind of showing a similar projection. I'm not sure if the projections have changed on us. We just got an update like 5 minutes ago or so. But maybe Boyle isn't necessarily the pivot off of Perkins that we thought it was. But that's who do you think is going to be more popular amongst those two? I guess it's going to be about split even.
I would have thought Perkins. I still kind of think Perkins.
That's what I thought too. But yeah, but like if you need $500, step down.
Yeah, if you
kind of
need
the same.
500, I'd say it's not the worst thing to go to Boyle over Perkins.
What about old man Charlie Morton? He's been pretty good of late. Since
he has.
I say old man in the highest possible regard. I'm not knocking him. I respect his game. He's a man and he's 40. In fact, I think he's 41. This Minnesota team is not spectacular. They have their weaker catcher in there. There's no Jeffers. It's Mickey Gasper. Who got added? I think it was Julian, the guy who got added to the lineup. I know Keishel's looked pretty good so far. He's a bit of a prospect. Buxton's back, but I don't think we're necessarily too afraid of Minnesota. We're seeing him pop up in ownership to some degree. Kikuchi against the Athletics, tough ballpark, but we know how that lineup falls off pretty quickly. I'm losing my voice. I got to get some water. So you got to fill.
Definitely. Yeah. So if I'm going to be ranking guys like Manaya, Kikuchi, Giolito, even, Charlie Morton, Chris Bassett, definitely. I feel like I would probably rank Manaya the highest, then Kikuchi, then Giolito, and then Morton and Bassett kind of fall. So while Morton is completely fine, like we have a question in chat about using Charlie Morton in cash games. Like I definitely would not do that. I think he's okay in GPPs, but I think given his projected ownership around 15%, honestly, if I was building out a portfolio of teams, I'd go underweight in Morton. I would go underweight in Bassett, and then I'd probably go overweight Manaya, Kikuchi, and probably Giolito as well.
Yeah, I see our guy J3 saying DeGrom and Morton for cash. Like, there's no way I wouldn't be playing Framber for cash. Like, Framber would be at least one of my cash game pitchers. Both FanDuel, he'd be my guy in FanDuel, and DK. DeGrom to me feels very much like a tournament play, and I would not play him in cash. And Morton, the same deal. I don't really think he fits the bill. Do you agree? You got to play Framber in cash?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
The Manaya thing is just like, how deep is he going to go? I don't like him as much on FanDuel just because he probably doesn't get that quality start. Has he gone 6 this year, Manaya? No. He's yet to go 6 innings, yet to get that QS. He went 4 last time out. He just labors, right? 87 pitches last time out in 4 innings. He wasn't good at Milwaukee because Milwaukee finds a way to beat up on everybody. Seattle, they're used to bad ballparks. Big jumper is there. The front half of that lineup is pretty solid. They did lose Naylor, but Naylor probably wouldn't have been a great play necessarily against Manaya. Left on left. I'm not sure who they added. I guess they have both catchers in there. Garver. That's kind of my issue with Manaya. Is just like he just third time around, he just doesn't. The hook is pretty quick, and he's just not terribly efficient. But I guess that's built into his price, right? It's 7.9. That's all kind of built in.
That's what I think. I mean, I think he's priced appropriately for who he is. What about Luis Gil?
Yeah, he's kind of a roller coaster, right? You never really know what you're going to get with him. In theory, there is some upside there. Did we get a new St. Louis lineup? Wasn't Donovan scratched? I'm not sure.
He was scratched. Have we gotten a new lineup yet?
Gil is a lot of fly balls, a lot too many walks, but there's also strikeouts, right? He's got strikeout ability. It's just he's a high variance play, so I think for sure you can consider Luis Gil. He's not somebody I would play in cash games. He's somebody that has a dangerous floor, but
he's just so he's so incredibly boom or bust. And he's like around $1,000 cheaper than most of these guys, other mid-range guys that we're considering. Like, I'd rather play Gil than Bassett.
I agree.
On this particular day, anyway, with these prices, I'd much rather play Gil over Bassett. So I mean, he definitely kind of belongs in this conversation, I think. and losing Donovan does help him a little bit. So it's definitely, I think he's fine in GPPs. I think he's even fine if you want to take a big chance in single entry. I think he's okay as well.
So I'm trying to find the St. Louis lineup. Okay, we got Donovan, Wynn. Wait, hold on. Are we not gonna?
Yeah,
Donovan. Okay, so we haven't had the updated lineup. Okay, never. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I don't think we've gotten the lineup yet.
Okay, so it is not. It is not Donovan. Okay, we'll get an updated lineup. But like you said, I do agree. Whoever they replace him with is probably going to be a downgrade. I know Newbar got hit the other day, or hit himself the other day. I'm not sure how bad it was. He might be available today to jump in there. We'll see what they come up with. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But I mean, the 2 games he's played, heel, right? The one against the Marlins, 4 walks. And, he wasn't good. And the one against Houston, he had 7 strikeouts. He kept the walks in check. He was pretty solid. So, yeah, and he's 7.5. Like I said, he's cheap enough where he doesn't necessarily have like a massive ceiling game. So I agree. I agree he's in this mix, and it's just not clear cut. If I was running 150, I'm not. I think it's a good spread amount for pitchers. Like I don't know if you feel the same way.
Pitching is extremely strong on the slate. There are several viable options. I do think that there are probably 8 to 10 guys that could be in your player pool pretty easily on the slate.
All right. Anything else we want to say as far as pitchers here, Tim? Anybody been thrown out in chats we may have missed? If I missed it, my apologies.
Cantillo, Joey Cantillo. I'm kind of out on him today. His price is a little up there, and there are pitchers that are far superior than him around his price point. I get it that Atlanta's not been good this season, but I don't know if Cantillo really has the ceiling to be somebody that you have to have in GPP, where there are guys around him at similar price points that do have ceilings.
The counterpoint is that he's got the biggest K rate on the slate this season. He just does at 28%. Bigger than DeGrom, bigger than Manaea, bigger than Valdez. The walks haven't been good. 11.9% walks. That's not good. Swing and strike rate backs up his K is 12.5%, so that's pretty solid. Acuna's back for Atlanta. That's not ideal. I think, doesn't he have, what is his anticipated pitch count? I feel like he's not a guy that can he's too hard.
Well, the bat has him for 84.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see what our guys say.
82 last time out. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the
Bat has 84. We have 87.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a big deal, but you might be losing an inning there. And this Atlanta lineup, they've been one of the more disappointing teams in baseball. There are some Ks in there still. Nacho Alvarez in a small sample hasn't been good. Allen just no punch at all on that bat. Alves has been bad, but he hasn't been making contact. Acuna strikes out a lot. Olsen strikes out a lot, but there's some power there, left on left. Profar has been very, very good against lefties across the board. Walking, not striking out, putting up some power. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Harris is in there left on left. I know they're benching him earlier in the year. He did tinker with his swing. He went back to his swing he had, a year or so ago, which may have something to do with him improving of late. But I don't really love him left on left. I think he's in the mix, though. I wouldn't be out on him, just because, again, there is some.
I wish Sandy Alcantara could ever be good.
I just
$6,500 and nobody's gonna play him. I'm not gonna play him either.
I'm not playing. I'm playing Boston.
Really?
Boston.
You are
yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and I talked about the hidden stolen base points against the Marlins. 28 stolen bases, and they give up more stolen bases than anybody else in baseball. Players get on, even the guys that don't steal. Boston, I was looking at this earlier today. The 6th most stolen bases in baseball collectively as a team. So I was trying to figure out if there's any good lines for stolen bases, but unfortunately, my sports book, I didn't love anything really jumping off the page for me. But I could see, if you get some good numbers, maybe some stolen base stuff out there. But and that's in part why Sandy has his left on base is so ridiculously low, because guys are just getting the second, they're stealing second, because he's given out 28 stolen bases on the year, which may be the most in baseball. I didn't go so far as to check that. But top of my head, that feels like that might be the most stolen bases by any pitcher in baseball this season. Okay, somebody just joined the show. I don't know where they were the first half hour. Shame on you, but they missed out on the promo. They missed out on a lot of good stuff as far as pitchers. But give them the summary. Summarize arms for this slate.
Yeah, so Framber Valdez and Jack Perkins are going to be your cash game duo on DraftKings. I would just be playing Valdez on FanDuel. If you're looking to get some pivot away from that ownership, I do like guys like a Shamanaya, a Kikuchi, Luis Heel, Lucas Giolito. And then if you're looking to get off some of that Perkins ownership, I think you can go to somebody like Joe Boyle. In really, really large field GPPs, I do like Hurston Waldrep at 7,200 against the Guardians. So, yeah, it's definitely Valdez and Perkins in cash games for me.
All right. A reminder that for Film Friday, the guesses on YouTube are not official guesses. You're just getting in some reps. It's just preseason in there. I see our guy Broccoli Boy is guessing. He thinks he's victory lapping a winner. No, it is not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You are incorrect, Broccoli Boy. You win nothing. However, I think it's Iowa Boy. Iowa Boy took down the Film Friday in 2. We have a winner in 2, which is I think 3 or 4 was par. We didn't quite decide, but this is a birdie if nothing else. We will play it out for funsies. The third clue is steal. So Ferrari, relax, and steal. That's our first 3 clues. But Iowa Boy won a week free of RG Premium, or was it SAO? Might have been SAO. Scores and odds, dealer's choice. Okay, so today's tiers. Tim, you were kind enough to make our tiers board. I say you were kind enough because myself and producer Steve are going to tell you how you're wrong momentarily. But we'll let you see what the people say in chat. Tell them what you decided on. The chat will give their opinion as well. But what was today's tier category?
We decided to go with different styles of pizza.
All right. When you say styles, you're talking about regional, correct?
Yeah, regional, different ways of making pizza.
Okay. We're going to reveal that board momentarily. Let's see. Because a lot of people have hot takes. And the other thing is 5 is the worst, 1 is the best. But it goes without saying, right? Even the 5 hole, it's pizza. So it's got a certain baseline. It's going to be good.
I mean,
right?
it's not like I wouldn't eat the bottom tier, but it's
sure.
not my favorite. Not my favorite.
So take me through the thought process, how you came up with your list.
Yeah, so when I lived in Providence, Rhode Island, I would go to Foxwoods several times a week, and New Haven is very close to Foxwoods. So I ended up going to New Haven quite a bit to eat pizza. And even before Dave Portnoy decided that New Haven has the best pizza on the planet, I also thought that New Haven was the best pizza on the planet. So New Haven, I really do like the kind of just like the charred, the crisp. I don't like doughy pizza, as you'll see by my list here. So I'm all about that kind of thin, well done, crispy crust.
Okay, so you have New Haven number 1, New York number 2. Producer Steve's already angry about this in chat. He'll probably jump on here in a second. Brian says St. Louis pizza the absolute worst. It didn't even make the board. We have Beimfohr coming on later. Maybe Beimfohr can give a take on that. I know Emu's is like their Emo is their local brand. It's like kind of like I think it's where they cut it like it's super, super thin. They cut it like in squares, like thin squares.
What is it?
St. Louis style. You never heard of St. Louis style?
I've heard of it. I don't know if I've ever eaten it.
Rocky Raccoon says, if you guys put New Haven first, I'm boycotting. And then says, you got to be kidding me. And we're here. We're here to speak on behalf of Rocky Raccoon and producer Steve as well. Now, he thinks it was disrespectful. You put New York number 2, even though you thought you were complimenting New York. Like, oh, 2, that's a compliment. But, it's still kind of insulting that you put New Haven in front of New York.
So
Chicago,
the thing is,
yeah,
it's New Haven and New York, and then a really, really big gap for me. Like it's a real big gap going down.
What's the big difference? I guess Chicago and Detroit similar.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Chicago's pan pizza. It's much thicker. Like I could only have maybe 2 or 3 slices of a Chicago pizza. Whereas like a New Haven, I could probably eat like 2 entire pizzas by myself. It's like Chicago's like really, really thick, I think.
Well, the locals supposedly eat like the super, super thin. That's more like tourist pizza that they say. That's my understanding. Yeah, it's thin and crispy, as Derek is talking about. So like, but the one that like they put on the billboard is like the cheese and the top, the cheese pool and the toppings buried into the sauce. It takes like 40 minutes to make.
Right.
Detroit also, I think the toppings, they put sauce on top, right? And square. They make them in those special steel pans. I think they came out of a steel mill or something like that many, many years ago, and somebody figured out how to make that work. Neapolitan dead last. So what was your favorite place, out of curiosity? Let's see if this lines up. Your favorite place to get New Haven pizza was where? A couple like specific restaurants.
I think it was Frank Pepe's.
That's what I wanted you to say. Because there are 17 Frank Pepes. There are 17 Frank Pepes in the country. 8 of them are in Connecticut. One of them is right down the road from me. Right, they just built it right down the road from me. And overrated. I don't get it. I went there twice because another friend of mine wanted to check it out. It's fine because it's pizza.
Well, they can't create the same oven though as they have at their original store. You can't do.
That's a myth. That's just a part of the mythology. The oven.
No, it's
thing.
Not. That's not.
It's
that's
got
not
a
myth,
baked
it's
dough that was baked in here 100 years ago is somehow
what makes the pizza, Dean?
Dude, what do I look like? Guy Fieri? I don't know.
The oven.
The water in New York. How about that?
The oven makes the pizza.
Well, I mean, did they say that you can't duplicate the water in New York? You've heard that before as well, too. That's another myth that people say. Is that not true?
Oh, sorry. You cut out.
Have you heard about the water in New York? Is that being a thing?
Yeah. They have to bring in their special water.
Yeah. And the other thing, by the way, we're cutting it in 16 slices. What are we doing? Is this for a child? Why are we cutting it in 16 slices? Frank Pepe cuts their pizza in 16 slices. The super thin. They don't do that up in Connecticut. That's what the Frank Pepe does here. They cut it twice.
No, it seemed,
well, I guess 8 times.
It's just 8 slices.
No, 16 slices. The one here, the Frank Pepe here, it's associated with the official Frank Pepe. Steve, if you wanted to chime in, by all means chime in. Feel free to jump on. I know Steve was insulted pre-show. He wanted to defend his beloved New York pizza, but maybe he got it all out pre-show. I'm not sure, but yeah. Rocky Raccoon's talking about the Jersey, the tomato pie. Somebody's got to explain that to me. Like, how could a pie without cheese be better than a regular pie? Have you ever had a tomato pie?
I think it's tomato pie. The tomatoes on top,
but there's nothing else. It's just bread and tomato. That's a tomato pie.
I feel like I've had tomato pie, and there was some cheese on it, but not as much cheese as normal.
It's like a Parmesan sprinkling, I think. Like there's no mozzarella or whatever. But all right. TJ said he had Costco pizza today. Come on, TJ, do better. It's fine as a value, but if you're gonna get pizza, get pizza. How good do you think that the Saskatoon pizza is? Probably not great. Where would that be on the board? 6?
Probably not amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, when TJ goes to New York, I know he's been a couple times. He gets his favorite New York slice. He loves that Sbarro's. He's been talking about that several times with me. But okay, let's knock out our tiers. Let's throw some teams and some tiers. We have 24 teams to rank. We have Crunch Time coming on in about 35 minutes or so. That would be Beermakersfan. Beer actually probably can speak to Detroit pizza. I don't think he's officially in Detroit, but he's got some Detroit ties. Beimfohr might be able to speak on St. Louis, and you have Kevin Roth, who's bounced around. Maybe he has some thoughts as well. But okay, let's throw some teams in, some tiers. The first game we're talking about, 7:07 starts. Shout out to Canada. It's Chris Bassett taking on Jacob deGrom, 7.5 total. Neither one of these teams project particularly great. We didn't really seem terribly enthused about rostering deGrom, but I don't know if we're going to pick on him either. Where do you want to put the Blue Jays and the Rangers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be rostering deGrom tonight, but I'm also not going to be rostering any of the Blue Jays. This is not a good spot for any kind of ceiling out of Toronto. Neapolitan tier for me for Toronto. I think the Rangers have at least a small, chance to maybe break the slate. No team that I would full stack, but getting to some Josh Smith, some Corey Seager, some Jock Peterson, just because of the value. I think that I'm going to put Texas in the Detroit tier.
All right. So Texas and Toronto, I'm not seeing them shuffling around. Where are we going there again? If you want to reiterate, and let's.
I was going to go. Toronto goes in the Neapolitan tier, and Texas goes in the Detroit tier.
All right. So you have both teams kind of in the gutter here. Let's move on. It's the Marlins and Boston. Sandy Alcantara, the aforementioned Sandy Alcantara, who once upon a time, did he win a Cy Young or came really close to winning a Cy Young? And it was close. He may have actually won it. Not looking like, what is the opposite of a Cy Young? Because that's the way he is these days. It's not spectacular at all. Taking on Boston, Lucas Giolito on the other side. 8.5 total. Boston pretty heavy favorite. Almost a team total of 5. I talked about the ability to steal bases on Alcantara and the Marlins just in general. Where do you want to put Boston and Miami?
You definitely make a really good case for Boston with that stolen base upside. Sandy Alcantara has not been the same guy this season. Has really struggled. Boston has over a 4.5 implied run total, which is kind of decent on the slate. So I think I'm going to put Boston in the Chicago tier. I kind of like Giolito tonight. And I don't think he's going to be super popular. So I don't really have any interest in Miami. I'm going to put Miami in the Neapolitan tier.
All right. Moving along. The Neapolitan is very popular so far, Tim. I imagine we'll get to some teams you like momentarily, and soon enough, maybe it's this game, maybe not. Hurston Waldrop is a person who throws baseballs for the Atlanta Braves. He's taken on the Guardians, Joseph Cantillo. We did mention Cantillo does have the biggest K rate on the slate. 8.5 total, kind of a coin toss. Cleveland, the slight favorite here. Where do you want to put the Guardians against and the Braves? The Braves are getting Ronald Acuna back tonight.
Yeah, I kind of like Hurston Waldrop in GBPs tonight. I'm not high in Cleveland at all. They do have an over 4 total. I thought it would actually be a little bit lower than that when I first looked at these games. So Vegas is obviously way sharper than I am. I'm going to go Cleveland's in the Detroit tier. Atlanta, they do get Acuna back. Cantillo can be all over the place. Poor control, does have good case stuff. I guess due to Atlanta's prices also, they are kind of a decent value. So I will put Atlanta in the Chicago tier.
All right. Atlanta in Chicago, Cleveland in Detroit. We shall move along. Let's see. Next up, it's the Mariners. The Mariners and the Mets. If you missed it, Naylor no longer in the Mariners lineup. He got swapped out. Sean Manaea at home versus Seattle. Luis Castillo on the other side. Castillo versus Manaea, 9 total. The Marlins, the Mets, are a minus 137 favorites. Where do we want to put Seattle and the Mets?
Yeah, I kind of like Sean Manaea today. Like, yeah, he's not going to go super deep because he never does. But this is also a really bad hitter's park. I think Seattle's basically just in a mediocre spot here today. So I'm going to put them in the Detroit tier. The Mets, Luis Castillo, another pitcher that has kind of struggled so far, this season. But he hasn't been like a complete gas can either. Just hasn't been his same dominant stuff. Like I mentioned before, really, 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 really bad ballpark. But I mean, this Mets team does theoretically have some firepower. So I'm going to rank them just a little bit ahead of Seattle, but there's not really a team that I love. This would be a team that I'd be hunting for like one-offs with. So I guess New York Mets are in the Chicago tier.
Yeah, the splits for Castillo on the road as well. It is a positive pitching ballpark, but the splits, lefties is kind of how you get them. 160 ISO, not terrible. 341 WOBA, that's pretty bad. A lot of lefties here, 3 off the top. Lindor, 201 ISO, 342 WOBA. Soto, 284 ISO, over a 400 WOBA. And even the Mo, over a 200 ISO and a 345 WOBA. And the Polar Bear, he can hit anybody. 262 ISO, 398 WOBA. The most homers ever for the franchise for the Mets. Took that over a couple days ago. I believe he surpassed Del Strawberry, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to the Polar Bear, who almost wasn't a Met this year. And, he was a late signee. Couldn't quite figure out that contract. Let's scoot along. Baltimore and Houston, 7.5 total. Framber Valdez taking on Brandon Young. One of the bigger favorites on the board is the Astros, minus 224, 4.5 team total against Young, who doesn't really project as anybody great. We talked about this Baltimore lineup on the season. They've been much worse versus lefties. I know active roster, current roster, a little bit different. Some players have shuffled around due to injury or being traded. But Daniel Johnson, Jeremiah Jackson are people that are professionally trained to hit baseballs, but not anything we're afraid of. Dylan Carlson, another guy who's just not very good these days. Mentioned earlier the very paltry 0.5 homers per 9 that Framber Valdez allows in the season, and no home runs allowed in 10 of his last 11. I know he's been scuffling of last couple games, but those are tougher games on the road. I'm framing it in a sense, if you can't hear me, that I do like Framber and the Astros tonight. Where do you want to put Boston and Houston?
Baltimore and Houston. But I do want to just backtrack real quick. Boston, I want in the New York tier. I misspoke. I want New York in tier 2. They are far better than just like an average stack tonight due to their stolen base upside. So I apologize about that one. But yeah, Baltimore definitely bottom tier. I like Valdez quite a bit tonight. They have an implied team total of under 3. I don't think we need to get cute with any kind of quote leverage stack with them or anything like that. They're definitely bottom for me. Houston, I think with a decent implied team total, it's they haven't been great this season. I don't really like a full stack of Houston, but I don't mind getting to some 3-mans and some one-offs, especially the top half of that lineup. So I guess Houston would go in the Chicago tier. Did you say that you liked Houston hitters as well, Dean?
I kind of like Houston hitters tonight. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't put him in the top tier personally. I wouldn't put him in New Haven, but I'd probably put him in New York against whatever Brandon Young is. It's more than anything. It's just like this lineup's not great. Jesus Sanchez has been bad since the trade over here for Houston. Trammell is. You're hoping for a homer, basically. He's got some power, strikes out a lot. Christian Walker's season's been rough. Altuve, we've got to talk about him. How he's kind of fallen off some this year. Correa, same deal. It's just a collection of players that aren't that great. And am I not mistaken? Pena's not in the lineup. That seems like a mistake. Why is he not playing baseball today? I don't like that. I'm just now realizing that. So maybe they should be in Chicago because I think that matters with no Pena.
I'm looking for their confirmed lineup here.
This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Altuve, Correa, Sanchez, Walker, Diaz, Urias,
you're right.
Trammell, Dubon, and Cam Smith, who we much prefer versus lefties. He's got the righty tonight, so he's buried in the 9-hole. I don't really love this lineup, but yeah, I don't mind the top half of it, but the bottom half falls off quickly, I think. And Altuve is just, I hate saying too expensive, but he just feels too expensive. You hate old people too. So I don't. I'm not an ageist. When it comes to I'm relying on you for fantasy points. I prefer you're not 37. I prefer you're younger, but they're pleasant as people in general. I don't hate off the field. I'm perfectly fine with them. On the field, maybe not. Okay, so we're settling. You're searching Costco now too? No. TJ's just spreading lies in chat. He didn't like what I said about him and his love for Sabaros, and he took offense to that, which is fine. But and now he countered with he took one lie, a little baby lie, and then he just he grazed. Basically, is what's happened there. But I'm pro Costco. Who's anti Costco? I worked in Costco for 10 days, very very briefly. I've never been to a Costco. Do they not have Costco's in Maine? I don't think so. Not anywhere near Maine. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to one. Do you feel like you're missing out, or you don't care? I don't really care, but I would go to one. Who's like the local big box? There's got to be a Walmart, right? Walmart, Sam's Club. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Costco is essentially a Sam's Club. It's a better version of Sam's Club, if you ask me. But they're the same thing. Is BJ still a thing? Is that a thing that's around now? I don't even know, but if that's in your local area as well. But There you go. Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. There was a BJ's that was close to me that's no longer existing, so I don't know if that still exists, but we'll have producer Steve Google that and let us know. Detroit and Minnesota, Charlie Morton, Pearson Ole is throwing baseballs today for Minnesota. And we talked about this. I've talked about this a lot, about that Minnesota bullpen since the trades they've made. Duran is gone. Griffin Jacks is gone. The current bullpen right now for Minnesota is the worst when it comes to SIERA. It's the worst when it comes to ERA. And Detroit is locked in for 9 innings. So Detroit does have a team total of 9+. Morton has revived his career in his 40s. Takes on Minnesota tonight. Not the best version of their lineup, but there are some pieces that are interesting, I suppose, if you think Morton turns into a pumpkin. Detroit, Minnesota, where are they going on the board?
Minnesota is in the Detroit tier for me, just because I think Morton could potentially get blown up. But I mean, I'm like you though, Dean. Like, I don't really like this Minnesota team all that much. But who I really like, and I'm surprised I didn't get much of in Sims, or really any at all, is Detroit. Like you mentioned it, this pitching staff from Minnesota is really awful. Detroit has an implied team total of over 5. Their ownership is going to be minuscule on this Detroit team. So
is it though?
I think
sure?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at what, 8% for Colt Keith, 5 for Torres, 2 for Carpenter, 4 for Green.
Yeah, they're not cheap anymore. So yeah, the Green is you gotta pay for him. Yeah, so
I know, but I mean,
keep some his ownership down.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to keep their ownership down. And, we do have any kind of fade from, I think, the Colorado bats, Arizona bats, that game. That game's going to be so chalky. I think you're going to get everybody at a pretty reasonable discount in terms of ownership anyway. So I really do. Like, if you're looking to fade course tonight, I really like Detroit here on the road against Minnesota and this really, really bad pitching staff. And I think Colt Keith, he's a pretty decent salary saver as well if you just want to play him as like a one-off. So I do like Detroit quite a bit today. So I'm going to put Detroit in the New York tier.
I did check out the newest stats, and yes, the Minnesota bullpen, the current iteration, as the highest SIERA at 4.29, but the highest ERA now goes to Washington at 4.64, Minnesota at 4.62. If you care about such things, and allowing homers per 9, Washington's number 1 as well. Minnesota is 9th, but okay, interesting to see that stuff. In the contest that we're playing, we mostly focus on like the 121 and single entry and stuff like that. I think, not to speak for you,
no,
I do agree.
Mostly.
I think like it's the big decision point is Arizona, and we'll get there. We'll talk about Arizona. 7 total, tough to fade, but it's baseball. You can fade anybody always. Is basically any team that's not Arizona kind of, I don't want to say sneaky, but like different degrees. Just like not playing Arizona is you're different. That's it. You have a different iteration.
Right.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, I completely agree. And I think some people are going to play Colorado too.
Yeah. You can play Colorado against Fox.
Like if you just stay away from that game with any other stack, you're going to be pretty different here.
Detroit and Minnesota, where do they officially go on the board again, if you don't mind?
Detroit goes in the New York tier. Minnesota can go in the Detroit tier.
All right. We can drop that 4th clue for Film Friday. Again, we already have a winner, but we're playing it out for fun. I know Broccoli Boy was taking his victory lap there in chat. He was wrong, and also it wouldn't count if you're in chat. You got to get in that Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. Most of our Discord channels are free. That is a free one. We have a free Discord channel for different sports as well. Really, really valuable. I know during NHL season, Tim, you're a part of the NHL Discord channel, which is spectacular. So good, in fact, it kicked me out. They're like, you know what? We don't want any of your nonsense. You're having too much fun here.
It's true.
This is not.
We don't allow any fun in the NHL Discord. I promise you.
It's all business. You guys just want straight facts in there. And, who's going to help me out as far as building my lineup tonight? What are the lines? What are we seeing? And also for preseason football, it's really, really useful because, having your eyes and ears on Twitter and things of that sort, So many things. You don't want to roster players that aren't actually playing, and that happens often during preseason. The fourth word again is blue. So Ferrari, relax, steel, and blue. All right. So Chicago, the White Sox, Kansas City, Noah Cameron, Aaron Savali. Kansas City does have a team total north of 5, in part because the weather looks good. The weather looks good there in Kansas City. Roth is telling us it's hot, it's humid, winds are out toward left field, 10 miles per hour. It is good hitting weather. I'm refreshing what Weather Edge says as well. I know it was positive before, but this stuff changes, I think, hourly, so it probably will change. It may change, doesn't have to. Yeah, we're getting the fire emoji and a bump to bats, 11.3% bump in runs and a 115-game sample. How do we feel about the White Sox and the Royals?
I'm not really that high on Noah Cameron for the slate, but I'm also not looking to really get exposure against him. I don't think we have to goof around with the White Sox on this massive slate, despite the fact that it's a good hitting weather tonight in Kansas City. I'm going to put the White Sox in the Detroit tier. So Kansas City, they do have a really nice implied team total. The weather is obviously strong, like I said. Yeah, I mean, I guess, and I don't think we really have to worry about ownership outside of Bobby Witt, probably. I don't think that they're going to be super, super popular tonight. We are showing a little bit of ownership on Yaz, a little bit on Vinny P, and Sal Perez. If they are getting a little bit of ownership, I like them less due to that. I'm really kind of in between New York and Chicago with them. I think I'm just going to go with my gut here and just put them in the Chicago tier. I think I'm a little bit below kind of where projections and kind of like ownership have with them.
Still waiting for an updated Cardinals lineup. We don't have that just yet, but I believe we're projecting Sagasi to jump in there. And because who was scratched? Donovan, right?
Donovan was scratched.
So JC is our expectation as far as who's going to jump in there for St. Louis. They're taking on the Yankees. We mentioned Lewis Heel on the other side. No Goldie. Goldie got dinged. No revenge game for him against Andre Palante and all his ground balls. But when he's not giving up ground balls, he is certainly vulnerable. Yankees, I thought their team total would be a little higher here, to be honest. It is hot in St. Louis. They're locked in for 9. I think Weather Edge like them too. Yeah, 11.9% bump in homers. Traditionally, it's kind of a neutral ballpark at best for hitters. Where do you want to put the Yankees and the Cardinals against Luis Heel?
I'm with you. I thought New York would have a little bit higher total in this game. I kind of like New York tonight, especially since they're really not getting very much ownership. I'm going to put the Yankees in the New York tier, just because I think they're a pretty decent GPP team. I think they do have a ceiling here in this matchup. They're on the road, so we're guaranteed 9. Yeah, so I kind of do like New York here, just as like a ownership pivot. The Cardinals, we don't have their official lineup, do we?
No, we're projecting Nootbaar, Wynn, Burleson, Herrera, Gorman, Walker, Pages, Sajasi, and Victor Scott. That is our official projection because Donovan was scratched. So we know he's not playing, but we don't have the rest of it just yet.
Yeah. So Heel can be like super boom or bust. I kind of am on the side of Heel tonight, so I'm going to put the Cardinals in the Detroit tier.
Yeah, and it makes sense you put the Yankees in the New York tier because you think the Yankees would even want to go in the New Haven tier or the Chicago tier? They would be insulted. There's no way they would want to go in those tiers. The Mets did not go in New York, though. I just noticed it now. The Mets are in Chicago, begrudgingly. The D-backs, they're in Colorado. We've kind of talked about this several times. You know, it's a big part of the slate, 12 total. Colorado getting 5, good for them. But the big headline is Arizona getting 7, a 7-team total. Perdomo leading off. He's pricey, but, leading off in course, nobody has a better shot of getting 5 ABs than, Perdomo tonight. Marte, Carroll, Gurriel, McCarthy jumped in that lineup. Locklear, Thomas, McCann, Alexander. It's pretty bad, like 5 through 9. Just like worth noting. I know it's scores. I know they have a 7 total, but McCarthy, Locklear, Thomas, McCann, their best.
You don't want to pay $4,300 for James McCann?
I don't. I'm told he's a lefty masher, so I would certainly do it against the lefty, but he's not facing a lefty, and there's not a lot of lefties in that bullpen. So is he going to mash Tanner Gordon? Maybe. He might. because Tanner Gordon's not good. But, like Blaze Alexander, I want him to be better. I want him to be faster with that name, and he's not. And he's not cheap. But it's like the stench of Colorado. Can they overcome? This team collectively is not spectacular, but they're going to get 7 runs somehow, right? Like I think that's a pretty fair number to throw on them. Maybe it's just
I think it's a fair
half.
number, and honestly, like I don't really sports bet, but I'm considering betting the over here. I like the over way better than the under, and I'm not always like an over guy. So yeah, I mean Arizona is clearly a New Haven tier team today. The only reason that you're fading them or going underweight them is just because of ownership. But they are by far the best overall stack. It's a little bit weird paying $5,600 for Perdomo.
It's a lot.
But guys like Marte and Carroll, I think that those are like fair prices. Even like Gurriel at $5,200, that seems weird, but I don't think that's like super overpriced. So this Colorado pitching staff is just so terrible. This Colorado team is so bad for DFS and real life viewing of MLB. So Arizona definitely is top tier. New Haven.
I can't remember if it was yesterday's article or I think it was yesterday's article where Dave he's just like get rid of these Rockies, like basically like trying to kick them out of the league.
It's really bad. It's bad for the sport when a team is this bad.
Yeah. I don't. Whenever I get in my soapbox about this, people always, the Dodgers, they shouldn't be spending money. It's like, well, they're not the problem. If there is a problem, the first problem is the Rockies, and the Pirates and teams like that. I do agree. Like the difference in price, just get a little bit more from Marte, especially their premium spot at second base where there's not a ton of depth. Carroll as well looks really strong. It's the guys like McCann and Alexander. I know Alexander in a small sample has been pretty good against righties. But what are you officially doing? If you decided, you're still kind of figuring it out. You have the one main lineup, right, in the single entry contest, and we know there's going to be ownership here on Arizona. Do you anticipate having an Arizona stack, maybe an Arizona mini, just a full out fade? Well, what's the strategy here?
I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing yet.
Yeah,
I'm kind of because I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with pitching right now. So it's definitely going to be something I really decide during crunch time. I'm leaning fading the Arizona bats, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and did you put Colorado in Neapolitan?
I have not decided Colorado yet. I think
that's what I thought.
I think Colorado's really kind of a Chicago tier team today. I mean, they're obviously fine. Brandon Pfaadt, he's a decent pitcher. I've seen some people talking about playing Pfaadt in tournaments.
I won't.
I mean, he's not. Yeah, I mean, I just think that pricing tier that he's in already has some pretty decent names that we've already discussed. So I don't think this is the right slate to do that. But I mean, he is a -200 favorite. So I mean, we saw Urod do pretty well last night. But it's not for me. I think I'm fine with Colorado in the middle tier.
You got to pitch 5 innings to qualify for the win. I mean, no matter how many runs they score for you. Sure, you can play him. It's pretty wide open as far as pitchers, but I would rather play like Boyle for less or Perkins for less, and Heal for a little bit more, and Manaea for a little bit more.
Yep.
So, and I don't really have a Waldrop take. I wish I had one. I don't have one. So I'm just kind of staying away from him, I think. Okay, a few more games to go. The last clue for Film Friday was Animal. I know several people have already guessed it in the on the YouTube. We had an official guest winner, Iowa Boy. Shout out to Iowa Boy. Took down RG Premium on 2. Ferrari, Relax, Steel, Blue, and Animal. We'll recap that momentarily for today's Film Friday, but let's move on. I think it's 3 more games, if I'm not mistaken. We just got the Dodgers lineup. We'll talk about them in a second, but first, it's the Angels and the Athletics. A game where I think you can lean in on all sides. That's kind of sort of my take here. Perkins, who looks like possibly a chalky SP2 on DK, in part because of the price. The K's have been good so far in a small sample. The Angels do strike out a good bit, but of course this ballpark is tough because if you give up mistake pitches, mistakes tend to get punished in Sacramento. No Angels just yet. Kikuchi on the other side. 10 total. We're basically looking at a coin toss when it comes to Vegas. So both these offenses look pretty decent. Both these pitchers, I think, are rosterable. Langelier is leading off today for the Athletics. Baudet is in there left on left, which is interesting. Is the other guy not playing the center fielder? I don't think he is, right? No. Langelier is Rooker, Kurtz, Thomas. Hernaiz is sitting fifth. Baudet, McIver. I don't know how to say that guy's name. Willie, Brett Harris, and Luis Urias. And again, no Angels just yet. Where do you want to throw these teams on the board?
I like both these pitchers, but honestly, I could see getting stacks definitely of the Athletics here in GPPs. Both of these team totals are right around 5 runs. I don't think there's going to be much ownership on either side of this matchup here. I guess I do like the pitchers better than the hitters. This game is just like right for GPPs on really both sides. I think I'm going to go Athletics in the Chicago and Angels in Detroit.
Yeah, the thing I wrote today in the survey is I just think that, I'm okay with the idea if you're running 150, and I'm not. But if I was, like, be over on Kikuchi, be over on Perkins, be over on the Angels, and be over on the A's, and just like kind of root for obviously different lineups. I don't think that's goes without saying, but and just kind of root for extremes. All right, 2 more games to go. The big rivalry out west: San Diego taking on the Dodgers. San Diego bringing on the big guns. They got Randy Vasquez on the mound, taking on Clayton Kershaw. No Padres lineup just yet. Dodgers just dropped Ohtani, Betts, Smith, Freeman, Teoscar, Pages, Conforto, Freeland, and Rojas. And this is a tough one, man, because Vasquez is terrible. His numbers haven't quite proven that. He's been lucky. He's been kind of the reverse Sandy Alcantara, if you will. He hasn't been he's got a sub-4 ERA somehow, despite an xFIP almost at 6, Sierra almost at 6. His walk rate and his K rate essentially are the same, 11.8% Ks, 10.3% walks. He gets barreled at more than pretty much anybody else on this slate. And that's a tough recipe for the Dodgers. But the bullpen for San Diego is really, really good. So if it's close, you're probably going to get some tough arms. And there might be a quick hook here because you'd have to imagine San Diego wants to, they want to win all the games, but you certainly value games here against the Dodgers. Where do you want to throw the Padres and LA?
I'm putting the Dodgers in the New Haven tier along with Arizona.
Okay.
I think they have a really, really good chance of outscoring Arizona tonight. And they're going to be at the fraction of the ownership. So I really do like the Dodgers as my top pivot off of Arizona. Vasquez, like you said, he's been getting away with a lot here. He might continue to do that tonight, but I just really like the chances for the Dodgers against the incredibly low strikeouts from Vasquez. So Dodgers are definitely top tier for me. I have no interest in Clayton Kershaw, but I don't really want to attack him either. So I'm going to go Padres in the Detroit tier.
Yeah, it's still kind of baffling how bad Tatis is versus lefties. I just don't understand it. But, on the season, a 93 ISO versus lefties, a 296 WOBA. And it's like, well, yeah, that's just an anomaly. Well, last year, a 103 ISO. Right? He doesn't have power versus left-handers. It's quite strange. I don't know why it is that way, but it shows much more power, right on right for whatever reason. Okay, the last game. Tim, you have some taters for the people? I assume you have some taters on layaway?
I can pull up some taters real quick.
You can drum some up, all right. I don't know if we have a likes threshold necessarily for that, but
no.
that like button. Oh, you just give them away. You're not pulling a TJ.
I just give them away. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not pulling a Spidey. Last game, the Rays and the Giants. It is on the slate, despite the fact you might not realize, oh, that's right. The Rays are playing the Giants. That game is happening, right? They are playing baseball tonight in San Francisco. It's Landon Roop against Joe Boyle. We kind of like Joe Boyle a little bit, right? Tough ballpark for offense. I like Boyle a little bit too, and I think this is a good ballpark to possibly suppress his homer woes. But the offense, we're talking stacks right now. Giants and Rays, where are they going?
So I was going to put San Francisco in the Detroit tier, but I think, well, it kind of depends. Like, is Joe Boyle going to be this chalky? And if he is, that increases my, wanting to get to some San Francisco. So I do think Boyle is going to get quite a bit of ownership here. So I think San Francisco can be used as like minis or 3-mans, especially some of these cheaper guys in the middle of the lineup. So I don't really hate San Francisco in GPP. So I'm going to put San Francisco in the Chicago tier. Tampa Bay on the road in this matchup, I don't really love it. I wouldn't mind getting to like a one-off of Brandon Lau or something like that. But as the stack, I really have no interest in. So I'm going to put Tampa Bay in the Detroit tier.
All right, going to recap the board here in a second. I do see Shannon in the chat asking about a pitch count for Roop. I pulled up the bat and I pulled up RG's pitch count projection, both about the same. I think it's around 63, 64, 65, 68. Yeah, mid 60s is kind of what we're looking at. I don't really know how you roster them at 7-6. To me, it's just not something I can do. All right, going to recap the board here. Going to give the film Friday out. I know Crunch Time's in the bullpen. They're coming on here in just a second. Chief meteorologist Kevin Roth. You have Beermakersfan, and you have Erik Beimfohr. All right, let's go ahead and recap the board here. If you're joining us late, Tim, this is Tim's board, recapping his favorite pizza stylings, and he likes all the pizza. This is no besmirching. Even 5's good enough, but, something's got to be in the gutter. Tim, this is Tim that put New Haven number 1. New Haven number 1, Arizona, and the Dodgers. Tier 2 is New York. That's Boston, Detroit, and the Yankees. Most popular tier is Chicago. The deep dish, I believe you went deep dish there. I know they have thin as well, but deep dish, that's the one that's advertised. Atlanta, New York, Houston, KC, St. Louis, Colorado, the A's in San Fran. Detroit has Cleveland, Seattle, Minnesota. That's tier 4, as well as the White Sox, the Angels, San Diego, and Tampa. In the gutter, Neapolitan, we have Toronto, Texas, the Marlins, and the Orioles. Again, Tater's coming in just a second, but I do want to recap today's Film Friday. Film Friday, several people have guessed it. They talked about it in the chat there on the YouTube as you're hitting the like button and subscribing and turning notifications. You're also telling me what the name of the movie is. Tim, I don't believe you did not partake one time in our private chat. You have no interest in fun. You didn't want to play. You didn't want RG Premium. But maybe I can help get the answer for you.
I apologize. The next time.
Clue number 1 was Ferrari. I'll get to clue number 2 in a second, but Ferrari, steel, and blue all are basically the same thing. They're all a distinct face. Ferrari, show me Ferrari. Now show me. Now blue and steel they're together. It's blue steel. Remember blue steel? The face?
I do.
Blue steel?
I do.
It's very similar to Magnum. You might get those two confused. But Ferrari, blue and steel, and of course Relax was the name of the song sung by Frankie Goes to Hollywood that triggered the brain of Derek Zoolander to all of a sudden want to murder the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Who could forget that? And clue number 5 was Animal, because we're talking about Zoolander. Zoolander was today's Film Friday.
It's a great film.
Did you like the sequel?
I don't.
Nobody saw it.
Not. I don't remember it.
Yeah,
I might have never seen it. I don't know.
I think you saw it, but like you kind of forgot, like most people. I know I saw it too, but I don't remember much about it. Any events?
Can I give out 2 taters real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Jaron Durian, plus 600, and Ramon Anthony, 650.
It's like you were reading my survey stuff. I like Boston today. Boston's I don't want to call them sneaky because they're not sneaky per se, but anything not Arizona is kind of sort of somewhat sneaky in single entry stuff, which is I'm focusing on. So yeah, Roman Anthony is one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think there's just one lefty in that bullpen as well for the Marlins, and Anthony, the 21-year-old phenom, has been distinctly better versus lefty so far to start his career. All right, let's do it. We teased it. We're bringing in Crunch Time. Chief meteorologist Kevin Roth. We got Beermakersfan as well as Erik Beimfohr. Crunch Time right now. What's up, boys? Did anybody want any? I was saying before, we have perfect people to give like pizza takes because Erik is in St. Louis. St. Louis is a very distinct pizza palate. Detroit has least ties for beer. Roth's been around. Roth, he probably has some thoughts as well too. But how do we feel about Tim's board? Any issues with Tim's board?
Chicago third is a travesty.
It should go
Chicago
lower.
So I was
lower,
considering
much
Chicago as deep dish, not the thin.
Okay. Yeah. You like the deep dish? I'm not.
Well, it's middle of the road for me.
Yeah, but it's closer to the bottom, I think. Neapolitan last and Chicago third. That's bold, Tim.
Where would you put
Just
St.
take it,
Louis?
Dude, St. Louis is like, I don't even think you can put it on there because you either love it or you hate it. It's like not a real pizza. It's Provel pizza, which is like Jason Tatum would put it first, and if you're not from St. Louis, you would put it last.
I didn't know St. Louis had a style, so
It's weird. Crackerish crust and this Provel cheese that is like a mixture of a bunch of cheeses.
you
Beer, you got
can't
anything?
go wrong with any or. I mean, we can move things around, but it's hard to f up a pizza. Let's be honest.
Different
But I
degrees
agree.
of good.
Chicago style, that's super thick, like a pie. Like I'm out on that.
Roth, you got anything?
I thought it was a good list and agree. I don't know. I've actually never had Chicago style, but in my mind, it's at the bottom of all the other pizza styles. But I clearly am not talking from experience, so that doesn't matter.
You've really never had Chicago style pizza?
I've never been to Chicago, and I don't want to try it outside of Chicago. That feels like
I've
cheating.
never been to New Haven, but I've had New Haven pizza.
Yeah, fair.
You can go to Uno's, but it's like not the same. But like if you've been to Uno's before, that's kind of Chicago-esque, but not really.
Yeah.
You aware of Uno's Pizza? Is that still a thing? Does that still exist? I'm not sure.
It rings a bell somewhere back there. It was a thing. I don't know if it still is.
It's somewhere hanging out with Bennigan's. I don't know that they're hanging out somewhere, the two of them. But all right, Tim, we got anything else before we step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time?
Yeah, we're good.
That was Tasteful Tides, Tim. I was Dean. Do stick around. You got 40 Roth, Canada tonight, 7:07. 7:07. Those 2 extra minutes, that's really going to kill the line. Let's see if Roth can get to 7:07, taking you guys all the way up to the bell. I went the first pitch. It is crunch time. Kevin Roth's got you right now.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Going to be hanging out with you probably up until lock, so long as we've got the content and the questions still coming in. It is a free show, and we ask that your early payment is that you hit that thumbs up, not for me, not for the show, but for two of the sharpest hosts in the biz. Erik Beimfohr in the house, staying hydrated. What's up, Beimfohr? How are you?
And wonderful football season is almost here. I get to see my man Beer, which brings me back to the days when he had to put up with me for 3 hours every Sunday on Sirius XM. So we're bringing back all the good vibes. We had a lot of good times back then.
We did.
So we're bringing it back tonight on Friday.
What's that like going 3 straight hours? I assume there's commercial breaks, but still, I mean, that's a long time. I'm hosting the show for 50 minutes. I run out of things to say. How did that go?
It depended on what time of the year it was. Like it's August, perfect. We could probably talk for 30 hours about football, but there were times in like April, May, you're just digging for something to talk about that's entertaining to the audience. But yeah, there were it was every 15 minutes, see a little commercial break. So not as bad as it sounds. We had some good times, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but our first baseball show together here in all of these years.
Yes, I believe that's true.
Very nice. Well, we'll have to do that up properly and right. We got Beermaker in the house. Talked about him being on XM. He's also here with us on Crunch Time. There's all kinds of content for us. Beer, how you feeling on this Friday?
I'm feeling great. My baseball team going for 13 wins in a row. I noticed Erik doesn't have his Cardinals hat on, but I figured I had to rock the Brewers gear. So
we're moving on.
There you go. He's got Shaq and Penny there.
Yeah.
But feeling good, man. It's Friday night. We're talking baseball. The chat looks like it's on fire. So we talk pizza. We're ready to rock, Roth.
Very good. And I was adopted into the Brew Crew fandom.
Absolutely.
You allowed me to join them, get on that bandwagon. I'm excited about that. Dean says, by the way, I too miss talking with Erik and Beer on XM.
Good times.
I used to jump on occasionally and do weather reports during baseball season. That was like, damn, that was a long time. That was like 10 years ago. But yes, good times indeed. Let's talk about this slate a little bit. Some good news. There's no real weather concerns, and there's just a whole lot of pretty good hitting weather. There's no one spot that is incredible, but Kansas City, hot, humid, winds are blowing out. St. Louis, hot and humid. Colorado is Coors. It's always good. Oakland, 90 degrees with winds blowing out in the minor league park. It's Oakland A's. And then San Francisco, winds are blowing out at 20 miles per hour. It does minimize the wind there in San Francisco, but that's still a bit of a bump. So a whole lot of pretty good hitting spots, and I'm hoping that matches up with some of our favorite hitting teams, but we shall see. Let's start with some pitcher talk. Beer, why don't you lead us off?
Not the best pitching slate, I would say. I think we have plenty of options. I think we're lacking the super high-end guys with big-time ceilings. So it's definitely going to favor people going to Coors and likely saving money. But I'll run you through some of my favorites. I think at the top, it's pretty easy. I think it's Framber Valdez. It looks like the crowd agrees. He's probably going to be the highest owned up here. I mean, the Orioles have been an absolute disaster. He's been very consistent. So, pretty easy click on him if you have the money. DeGrom's a tough one for me, and I'm interested what Erik thinks because he's showing good leverage. He's not going to be highly owned. He's showing very optimal. This is a horrible strikeout matchup for him. I mean, Toronto is the lowest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching in all of baseball. So I'm really torn on that. I think it's a decent pivot. He's a good enough pitcher where he could still get you there. I just don't know if this is an 8, 9, 10 strikeout kind of game, which kind of limits his ceiling. So those two on the high end. I think the mid-range, you got some decent options. Noah Cameron's interesting against the White Sox. Chris Bassett, boom bust option against Texas. Giolito kind of in the same boat. I mean, these guys' production is just all over the board, but I think they belong in your player pool. The guy I'm intrigued with is Hurston Waldrop, which sounds like some kind of law firm, but we're talking about a guy, 2023 first-round pick, worked his way to the majors very, very quickly, 2 starts, has looked decent, 4 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts. Good matchup here, though, with Cleveland. There's just not a lot outside of Jose Ramirez to do damage. The numbers are bottom 5 against across the board for this Cleveland team. So he's very intriguing. And then you get into some of the values. Jack Perkins looks fine. Joe Boyle, even cheaper, pitching it in San Francisco. And then Roop, we'll see what kind of pitch count kind of worries me there. So I gave you a lot of options, but bottom line, I don't love any of them. It is the point here. It's kind of one of those weird pitching slates.
Do you feel good at least about Valdez at the top, and then it's the SP2 you're worried about?
Yeah,
or you don't
I
even
think
really
if you're going Coors, and I think you can still stack Coors. There's a lot of cheap pieces we're going to talk about and fit Valdez. So he's the guy I feel best, the safest about. Again, I'm torn on DeGrom. I hate the matchup, but I love the what he's popping. In some of these models, very, very optimal. And then I think I'm going to go and live in that mid range, and probably the guy I'm going to go with the most is Waldrop against Cleveland.
Okay, interesting. Beimfohr, what are your thoughts here as you look at these pitchers?
I think Beer summarized it perfectly. I have a slightly different plan of attack, but I think that there are no real, even Framber at the top, just like 10.5K and the chalkiest pitcher on the slate with all of the like you mentioned, all the good hitting spots, like from a weather perspective. There are also, given the fact that there's no real like superstar pitchers, that means there's also like a lot of really appealing hitters to play on the slate. And so tying up all that salary, which is going to put me down into a tier of hitters that, maybe also a lot other people, if they want to afford Framber, they got to play some cheap hitters too. I kind of like living in that mid-range and the cheaper options at pitcher, because if there's no real standout, well, let me save some money, and also maybe let me save some ownership, because there will be some bats that I do like. I mean, we all like Coors Field tonight, but even some other non-Coors related bat spots I am really interested in because of all those great, the hitting weather and the hitting matchups for all these guys. A lot of, we're at the end of the season. Teams now, my Cardinals are not totally bringing up the young kids and letting them get beat around, but they're just leaving the vets out there to go get beat around, like the Andre Pallante and some of those guys. Like, look at some of the names. Some people probably never even heard of some. I mean, Beer's recommending guys that people have probably never heard of tonight, because tis the season, right? It's August. These guys are out of the race, and so we're bringing up some young kids, or just letting some of these dusty veterans out there to eat some innings and get us to the end of the season. And so I think that there's so many appealing hitting spots that I don't want to spend all my money at pitcher. I will say, you heard the guys right before us talk about Joe Boyle. I'm really excited about Joe Boyle's talent. I know he's 5,400, and I know I said I want to save. I don't think I can play a chalky Joe Boyle on the slate because I'm also not confident at all in that pitch count. Like, I think 85 pitches would be bullish to me. I think that would be a really high level outcome for his pitch count. Probably the same for Jack Perkins, but I think if I'm going to save, I would rather go to Jack Perkins over Joe Boyle. I think he'll be slightly lesser owned, even though you see a couple tags on him here. There's a lot more stability in kind of who Joe Boyle is as a pitcher as opposed to Perkins, but I like the spot a little bit better for Perkins, despite the nice park, for Boyle. San Francisco is not really a team that I particularly love to pick on, but you'll probably really find me living in the mid-range. Kikuchi, we just talked to our good friend Dean, who loves him some Yusei Kikuchi. I love him tonight. He's probably my favorite option. The strikeout upside, you see like pitch count also. Like, there's nobody that projects for a higher pitch count than Kikuchi on the slate, which is nice in a matchup with the A's, who can do damage, but they also can strike out a ton. And then I have to shout out, Cheese put it perfectly in Musings today that Charlie Morton is just the All-American hero, man. Just 41 years old, out here, still going out there, just letting it rip. And like, he has a 19% swinging strike rate since he's come over to the Tigers. Like, he's also been kind of awesome. Now he will give up some home runs, but he's facing one of those teams that's like given up on the season, like entirely. The Twins traded away their whole team essentially, and they're going to roll Morton out there. He's going to strike guys out, and he's a little bit, again, some savings and some ownership savings that allows me to get some bats that I really like.
Okay, very good. I do want to note, you mentioned the Minnesota game. I did have to increase the risk there of a delay just a little bit. I think if they see anything, it might be a late start, but there's just a few storms that we're supposed to clear now, and there's still a few more firing up, which makes me think they may take a bit longer, but still probably play whatever you were going to play there in Minnesota.
Looks like Randy Vasquez was scratched. Yep. Not that anyone should have been playing Randy Vasquez, and I hope he was not anywhere near your player pool, but if he was, we just want to do you a friendly service here.
But okay, and then also I was hearing a lot of chatter about FanDuel being down. It might be back up at this point, but some folks are having issues. But we do want to talk about FanDuel pitcher. Beimfohr, maybe there's some pricing differences there that you're interested in. Maybe you're still hammering that mid-range. What do you like?
Yeah, I still kind of like saving a little bit, though it is slightly different. DeGrom is the highest price pitcher. I think it's Framber is so for reference, Framber's over $10,000 on DraftKings, and it's just a little more prohibitive to afford him there with the way DraftKings does their pricing, especially on the top end hitters. He's 9,900 on FanDuel. However, that does mean he's going to be quite popular for a single pitcher. Normally it's pretty spread out, and generally it still will be a little bit more. I hate playing that like 30% owned FanDuel pitcher. And Framber is fine, but I'm still kind of like, if you sort by ownership on FanDuel, Framber projects for 25%. There is no one else above 9. Yeah. So on a huge slate, right? The Friday night slates are always very big slates with no like, he's the standout, but this isn't like Beer said, like this isn't Skeens, this isn't Scooble, this isn't Crochet, this isn't like that level of standout that's just like undeniable. And so as bad as the Orioles have been, I'm still looking down to some of these cheaper options in the, I mean, if you want to play the Jack Perkins of the world, he's 6,700. You can get every bat known to mankind, but it's probably more in like the 8K range. Again, the Mortons, the Kikuchis, the Manayas, those kind of guys.
Beer, anything you want to add there? FanDuel pitcher?
No, I think it's a good range to kind of live in. Waldrop is 7,600. I mentioned Noah Cameron's in that range. I think that's probably the way to go rather than spending up, especially at that ownership on Framber. It's a nice discount, and I think that number could be a little bit low. I think that number could go over 30% probably on him. So fine taking shots, look for the high upside guys, and then you're going to allow yourself your favorite stack, access to Coors or a couple more high-end bats.
Okay, very good. Well, speaking of access to Coors, we'll start talking about some of those favorite bats and stacks. Beimfohr, you can lead us off there. I think Dean mentioned Arizona was kind of what is the chalk, but what else are people playing? What else do you like?
It's really hard so we mentioned that teams are it's August. They're 1, 2, 3 Cancun right before they run out onto the field nowadays, and no one is more of that than the Colorado Rockies. Okay,
They were
this
that
isn't
since the first week, really, but
this is an unserious organization. You can play stacks against them, especially in course. You can do it every night, but you can do it especially in course field. The problem for me is that, of course, the Diamondbacks are going to be very popular. And the Diamondbacks have a woefully unexciting DFS like style of offense.
That's interesting. Cheese was talking about that last night when he's like, the Diamondbacks just, even if they do well, I'm not sure they're what you need to win a GPP, which I think is an interesting thought.
There's some good hitters, but like outside of Kettle Marte and Corbin Carroll, like Lourdes Gurriel is fine. But like we're talking about, Jake McCarthy is just a speedster. They got the young first baseman Tyler Locklear, who's okay. But like, I mean, for any DFS bros, no, like the ultimate lefty mashing catcher from a decade ago, literally, James McCann is still kicking around and he's in the lineup for them. Like James McCann is $4,300. Okay, in the year of our Lord 2025. Like I cannot against a right-handed pitcher. I cannot, get behind James McCann. Like I played Blaze Alexander last night, and I mean he stinks, but he's hitting last for them. It's just a really like they might score 15 runs and like hit a home run, and like Corbin Carroll might steal a base or something like that. Like I would say you're hoping for like, Coors has the huge outfield. You're hoping for like some triples in the gap or something from some of these guys because they can run a little bit, the McCarthys and Thomases and stuff like that. So I just don't, at super high ownership with the cost of all the, like Corbin Carroll, $6,600. Like the cost there, I think there's some other really good spots on this slate with how many options that we have. So it's really difficult for me to play the Diamondbacks. I'm using some of that savings to get, I do like the Yankees against the Cardinals tonight. The Tigers look awesome. The Tigers lefties specifically might be my favorite play of the slate. I wouldn't call their matchup with Pearson Ole. Don't call me like a Pearson Ole, like a expert. It's not like I've seen this guy pitch before, but I can read a Fangraphs page, and it's a lukewarm Twins prospect that hasn't been very good in very limited Major League Baseball sample. But the thing that's really interesting to me, of course, he's right-handed and unimpressive, but they do not have a lefty available in the bullpen for the Twins. They have one lefty. He's pitched, I believe, 3 days in a row, which like never happens in baseball. So he's definitely not pitching. I guess maybe he could pitch a fourth. Might as well. What's the difference, right? But they have awesome lefties, right? Colt Keith leads off. Kerry Carpenter is like, we talk about lefty mashers. You want to talk about a righty masher? Kerry Carpenter is like the epitome of he can't hit a lefty. They actually take him out when the lefty comes in to face him, but against right-handed. So that's huge for him. It's huge for Riley Green. It's huge for those guys because they will pinch hit their lefties if they face a lefty. Now you're getting on the road, full 9 innings against a tanking Twins team. So the Tigers are very high up the list for me. The Dodgers were on there, but that was because I wanted to attack Vasquez. And now we just a couple of minutes ago got the news of Vasquez. I think did it say Wandy is starting? It's probably just a bullpen.
It's a bullpen. Yeah, Wandy Peralta.
So I think that's probably going to take the Dodgers. The Padres bullpen is like the greatest of all time. So like a Padres bullpen game is not something that is appealing to play guys against. So I'm going to remove the Dodgers from my rotation. And then I mentioned the Yankees, but then I also kind of like if Joe Boyle does start to get really, really popular, maybe not a full giant stack, but Boyle, even in San Francisco, is really homer prone. He's got some good stuff, but he's really homer prone. So like some giant stuff as leverage against Joe Boyle is on the table for me too.
Good stuff. Beer, your favorite stacks, please.
I'm gonna give you a Baker's half dozen here, Roth. So no, I'm with Eric on the Dodgers. I had them in there, and I don't love it as more. I love picking on Randy Vasquez, so we're gonna take them off the list. So just a half dozen pack here.
Six pack of teams.
Yeah, 6 pack of teams. Arizona clearly. I mean, that's got to be one of, if not the highest team projections I've seen all season long. I mean, we get Coors, but that's a big number. So
what's it
obviously,
at, like 7.5 or something? What is it?
It's up there. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are we at? Right around 7.
Over 7, yeah.
still, you don't see many 7s. So
Right.
It's crazy.
Arizona, number 1. I really like the Red Sox tonight, and I think that's the one is not going to garner a ton of ownership. Prices are fair. Alcantara is just a mess. I mean, this guy is not the same pitcher. Just go look. I'm not a big splits guy, but his road splits are absolutely horrendous. I'm talking batting average allowed of 325. ERA is almost 9, and it's over 10 road starts. So, again, I don't put a ton of weight in that, but there's something. This guy is just not the same pitcher. So, give me Boston, too. Really like the Royals. A lot of their bats are appealing tonight. The Astros, I think, are intriguing. Agree on the Tigers. I have them on the list. And then my kind of off the board, I don't think nobody's going to play Seattle. This is a much better offense on the road. Their numbers are drastically better. Manaea has been a mess last couple starts here. So he's not some ace that they can't get to. A lot of guys in that lineup that could do damage. So I think Seattle, super sneaky tonight.
Okay. Very good, guys. Let's go around the horn here, talk position by position, and we can start with that catcher spot, Beer.
We're actually pretty loaded up at catcher. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go at a lot of different price points. So Hunter Goodman to me is the top of the list in Coors Field. And Shane Langeliers is in a good spot against Kikuchi. Will Smith, I still like even without Vasquez. It's still a tougher matchup with that bullpen, but he's in play. And then some mid-range guys. I like Sal Perez at 4,400. We get the Ben Rice cheat code in here where you can use him at catcher on DraftKings, and if you need value, I think Yainer Diaz is probably your best value at 3,700.
Beimfohr catcher?
Pretty similar. It is a quite good position, actually. Shea Langelier, ever since he moved to apparently he's natural-born leadoff hitter. He moves to the leadoff spot, and he's just absolutely crushing. I do very much like Kikuchi, but that doesn't mean he's near the top of the list for me. Every single slate that Ben Rice is available at catcher against a not so good pitcher, and the Cardinals bullpen is just, they traded away their only good relievers, and they have like a mediocre middle reliever, basically a lefty specialist as their closer. And so he's their best arm. So the guys after him, not very good. I quite like the Yankees lefties tonight, even more so than Aaron Judge. You can always play, but Ben Rice near the top, and then I'm trying to Dylan Dingler, because I really like the Tigers, and he just never gets played. There's a lot of obviously other Tigers that you can play, but just including him in my Tiger stacks tonight.
I forgot my favorite catcher.
Yeah, who is it?
James McCann.
Oh yeah, the old lefty master against the righty.
I don't know how I omitted him from my list. My apologies.
Beimfohr, what are you doing at first?
Can we look up James McCann's stats this year? Has he actually been playing?
Chad will hook us up. I didn't even know he was still in the league. I'm going to be honest. So look at that. Some good games in there.
He's played. Does he have 2 home runs? Does he have home runs in back-to-back game? He hit a home run last game that he played.
Yep.
Sure did.
That's amazing.
Here we are besmirching him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He's going yard for sure now that we've been
35.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 35 years old. He feels much older than 35, by the way. I'm shitting on him, pardon my French, and he is younger than me. So now I don't feel so good. All right, first base, onto the seriousness. Yeah, it is crazy. I know we talk about this all the time. There's not that much I love at first base, and catcher, there's 10 guys that I would actually really like to play. So mentioned Ben Rice. If you really want to play one of those other catchers, I do still actually quite like Ben Rice at first base. I don't care the matchup. I don't care what the projection says. Nolan Shanuel is the Jeff McNeil of first baseman. You can't play him as chalk. I'm sorry. I can't play a slap hitting singles hitter first baseman. He's a kind of a good real life hitter, but as the most popular first baseman, no thank you. Tyler Locklear.
Would you say he's the PJ Tucker of baseball?
He is the PJ Tucker. Fans. Yes. 100%. Tony Snell. He's the Tony Snell, PJ Tucker, whatever. You might get a couple points, but you better get 42 minutes to get your 15 fantasy points or whatever. Tyler Locklear to me should be the most owned first baseman. I would be a little shocked if this doesn't end up in a little bit of a different order here. Obviously, you see him, he projects for more points than Shanuel does and is only 600 more. He is, of course, in the chalky stack of the night, and is kind of the one of the only, like, James McCann is more expensive than Tyler Locklear to that point. Outside of that, I was really excited to talk about Freddie Freeman against Randy Vasquez. I thought it was an awesome spot for Freeman and Ohtani, of course, at first, but we don't really get too much there. And then I do want to shout Christian Walker. That Beer mentioned the Astros. I haven't mentioned much about the Astros yet, but I think Christian Walker as a tournament play is appealing as well.
Okay. Beer, first base.
Matt Olson, probably my favorite, 5,200. Good matchup for him. Right there with him. Vinny Pasquantino projects very well against Savale. So it's been kind of a frustrating season for him, but good power spot. I agree on Christian Walker at 4K against Baltimore. Good price on him. Spencer Torkelson is in the pool, and then Locklear is just too cheap. He's probably your value. If you don't love anyone else, save some money, and he can be your cash game guy as well.
All right. Take me to second, Beer.
Little thin here. I mean, this is to me, you either go Kettle Marte or you save some money, and the savings for me is going to be Luke Keeschel of Minnesota. This guy's been putting some big numbers on the board. I think he's too cheap, so that's about it. I don't see much in the middle. You know, you can make a case for Jazz Chisholm, but I think you're either spending the money. Kettle Marte's projection is absolutely off the page, or you save with Keeschel, one more value. Ozzie Albies, who's been a mess, but 3,500, pretty good upside there. But I really like Luke Keeschel if you want to save some money.
Okay. Beimfohr, your thoughts there at second.
It's an absolute disaster. And so even though he's chalky and I was sitting here hating on the Diamondbacks, if you can afford him, Kettle Marte is a pretty darn good play. There is not much opportunity cost at the old second base position. However, the second baseman that I have in my lineup and do prefer, I think you can play Gleyber Torres. I mentioned the Tigers. I really like the Tigers tonight, but my favorite second baseman is Jazz Chisholm of the Yankees. You don't see him on your screen from an ownership perspective because if people are spending up, they're just going to go get Kettle Marte. And I get that, but I really, really like the Yankees tonight. 4,800 at a second base position. That's absolutely terrible. And look, it would be one of those, like, don't watch because he's probably going to do something very, very stupid at some point during the game that's going to infuriate you. But also he can, like, hit 2 home runs and steal a base because that's the Jazz experiment. If Nolan Shanuel is PJ Tucker, I think Jazz is like Ricky Davis or something like that. You know, like he would definitely throw the ball off the rim to get his rebound for the triple double.
Like Russell Westbrook, kind of. Yeah. Watching it's tough, but he'll get you there. Yeah. Okay, let's go to third base.
A little bit better at third base. I think somebody said, I haven't updated it, but I did really like Matt Chapman and I believe somebody said he's not in the lineup in the chat. So somebody correct me in chat if
I'll take a look.
If that is correct, which kind of stinks. And it also
is not in the lineup.
Yeah, that sucks. I thought he was a pretty awesome because third base is not awesome. Carlos Correa, Colt Keith, Carlos Correa, Ramon Urias, Blaze Alexander at the top of ownership. I think that tells you about what you need to know. I do really, really like Colt Keith tonight, and that was why I really liked Matt Chapman. I do think you can really play some of the lower owned guys because that is not much to fade. Like, as much as I like Colt Keith, like, I mean, Carlos Correa chalk, you know, in 2025, not anything special. I'm glad Beer mentioned the Red Sox. I should have mentioned the Red Sox when we talked about the stack stuff because we'll get to some of the outfielders who I really, really like, some Red Sox outfielders. And I think you can play Alex Bregman, like another pay up to be contrarian. If we're talking about saving money at pitcher, 5,200 Bregman doesn't feel awesome, but I think the Red Sox are in a really good spot tonight and third base is real bad.
Okay, Beer third.
Yeah, there's some good options to avoid owner. Not that anyone's super highly owned here, but I agree. Bregman's probably my favorite at 5,200. I'll throw Manny Machado in that same category. Kershaw's been solid, but Machado hits lefties so well, and you're getting these guys at, you know, looks like 4 or 5% on each of them. So those are my two favorites. Eugenio Suarez is right there. As I mentioned, I like Seattle. They could be sneaky. Agree on the Colt Keith call if you need value. And this can be second or third. Ramon Urias is super cheap for Houston tonight.
Yeah. Okay. How about short?
Bobby Witt. another guy that'll probably go overlooked tonight, with everybody either paying for Framber or going to Coors Field. So, or maybe not. Ownership is up there. So the DFS crowd is getting wiser. I love to see it. So Witt's a fine spend up. My favorite is probably Corey Seager tonight against Bassett. A good price on him. Obviously, Perdomo and Coors is solid. I think Zach Neto is interesting. And then our boy Brooks Lee, shout out to Cheese. We got to get a Brooks Lee reference into the show. So 2,600. If you need some savings, Brooks Lee is my favorite value.
Okay. Beimfohr short.
Yeah. It is that somebody in the chat mentioned they're sorry for me that Jeffrey Springs is not pitching tonight. First of all, don't be sorry. I won't lose money on Jeffrey Springs tonight, at least, for once this week. I know people don't care, but there's best ball for baseball and stuff too. And we're in the playoff portion of it. And I have a lot of pitcher injuries, and Jeffrey Springs has 2 starts this week, which means you can get double points from that. And so naturally he found yet another way to let me down, because I have him on my playoff best ball teams as well. And he goes negative in the first start and ruins the, so just all around Jeffrey Springs disaster season. However, the guy who I play at shortstop, just like every slate, my Jeffrey Springs of shortstop, and I feel a lot better about this one, is Corey Seager. Like, Corey Seager is still 4,700. Chris Bassett has been struggling and also has historically been terrible against lefties.
Yep.
And so the Rangers also kind of loaded up with some lefties in the lineup. I think that they could be a little bit sneaky, but specifically Corey Seager to me is just, if I can't get Bobby Witt, I'm totally happy to settle for Corey Seager as a consolation.
Okay. You get to take us into the outfield. I'm sure there are plenty of options. What do you like?
Yeah, I don't love the order that we went in here at Roth. I thought we decided that we we're going to make it not me, dude. Yeah, the outfield.
Noted.
Exactly.
I can kick off the outfield.
No, they're just messing. And so Corbin Carroll is like the best play if you can afford $6,600 in the outfield and you're comfortable eating. Like, this is another thing. If you play Framber and you play Carroll and you play Marte, and it's like, okay, you need to save somewhere. Now you're going to play the same cheap guys that everybody else is going to play, right? It's like, if all the chalky players are all expensive, then the same cheap guys are also going to be chalky as well. So that's just like, I'm avoiding these Diamondbacks guys, even though they clearly are good plays. I actually think my favorite outfield, 1A, 1B, the chat can decide. It's Roman Anthony and Kerry Carpenter. I think that these 2 guys are never priced probably where they should be, because they're like much better against right-handed pitching. And so like the overall, right, it's based on like their kind of fantasy results over the course of the whole season. And they have down games because they can't really hit left-handed pitching. Yeah. Kerry Carpenter comes out a lot of the times against left-handed pitching. We talked about how that's not going to happen tonight because there are no lefties in the bullpen. And then the Red Sox, of course, are just in a great spot. And I think the outfield is where I really like the Red Sox guys the most. Outside of Bregman, the Red Sox in the outfield are awesome plays. I'm trying to think if there's any. The rest on my list were Dodgers, and they ruined me. They ruined me with the Dodgers and the pitching change. So I'll just leave it at that and kick it to Beer.
Yeah. Okay. Beer.
Judge easy, Carroll easy. Don't need to spend a lot of time there. I really like Mike Trout tonight, and I think you can like Perkins and still like Trout. I know it's been not quite a Mike Trout season we're used to, but the power is still there. The hitting conditions are elite, high temps, wind blowing out. He's always hit righties well. Trout's one of my favorite bats of the day. Agree on the Boston guys. I'm going to add Jarren Duran to that as well. Alcantara struggles more with lefties, so it's still not good against righties. So Bregman certainly still in play, but Duran, Anthony, solid. Agree on the Tigers. I think we both think Carpenter's a great play. Riley Green in that same boat. And it's Yui, however the hell you say the guy's name. Then Urena is coming in, who's also really bad against lefties. And that bullpen is horrific. So you don't have lefties. You have 2 bad guys opening the game and a horrible bullpen. So Green and Carpenter both solid tonight. I think Brent Rooker, even if it's a one-off against Kikuchi, I like the power spot for him. And I'll add Jesus Sanchez of Houston, another Astros bat I like. At 4,200, last one. I just can't quit Jock Peterson at these prices, Roth. I mean, they're giving him to you for free. I think he's in the pool or a cash game play if you need to save some money.
Okay, good stuff. Guys, the people want some home run calls. We want to make sure that we get them hooked up with that. Can I steal Trout, Beer? Because I feel like That was a
he's
good
on
call.
my list, but
Well, I mean, but I'm going to take him, so you got to come with someone new. See, I'm going to take him from you.
all right,
I get
Roth.
precedence.
I let you in my Brewers fandom, and this is how you do it. You just steal my number one home run call. I wrote this pick up on Scores and Odds, but yes, Roth, you can have
just
it.
snaking it from you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the Mike Trout
All right.
home run call. That is my home run
Okay.
pick of the day. Certainly not Beers.
Well, then you better toss it to Erik because I got to find a replacement now. I got 2 other ones ready, but I got to find a third one now.
Erik, what do you like here? Give me maybe 3 names for some home runs.
That we can do. So I didn't mention this guy at shortstop, and I really should have. But along the lines of Mike Trout, Zach Neto at shortstop has been awesome. Also think he is just a really good baseball player, but also an awesome like fantasy upside type bat. Also some potential leverage at shortstop. And then I'm gonna stick with old Kerry Bonds, Kerry Carpenter in the outfield, and Jazz Chisholm at second base. Those are my
Okay. Kerry Bonds is fully ridiculous, but I'm here for
That's a great
it.
name.
It's amazing.
Beer, what do you got? Yeah, not Mike Trout, because that is mine, but anyone else.
All right, we'll give you Mike Trout. I got a plus 520, a plus 600, and a plus 950.
Ooh,
How does
okay,
that
tasty.
sound?
950. Hello.
950. So the plus 520, Jesus Sanchez, who I just mentioned. My pivot off of Trout, a guy that I liked and had in the video today, Jaron Duran at plus 600, and Luke Keeschel at plus 950. So only 2 home runs on the season. I get it, but those have come in the last 7 or 8 games, and I'm not buying this, revelation from the pitcher of Detroit. I don't even remember his damn name.
Morton, how dare you?
Morton. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually team old guy, but
It's too old. There's a limit to team old guy. Yeah,
I think he's older than I am. That's old.
Yeah. All right. Very good. We want to make sure we answer the people's questions. We still have 12-ish minutes until lock because we're on Canadian time. Gives us a little bit extra time jumping in the Discord just to see what we've got going on there. DKGPP from D-Rock. Beer, I'm stacking the Yankees. What do you think about Jazz and Frazier or Dominguez and Keeschel?
Dominguez, Keeschel.
Very good. DK Cash question here. Beimfohr, I'll give this one to you. Jazz, Yanier Diaz, or Ketel Marte and Gasper?
Ooh, I think I would still play the Marte side in cash, though. I like Marte better, but then I like Diaz better. But I think I'll side with Marte.
Okay, Beimfohr, right back to you from Sin3. Who are the must-play batters in DK Cash?
Oh God, that is a great question. Let's find out. I would say a lot of Diamondbacks is where I would start. About as many Diamondback I would play. So just overall cash, I would play Framber.
Mm-hmm.
I would jam some Diamondbacks in there. Carroll, Marte. I would play Locklear at first base. I understand the Chanuel stuff, but I would play Locklear at first base. And then I don't know if Bobby Witt is a must in cash. He's projecting crazy good, but I'll say Carroll, Marte, Locklear, and then I know Framber wasn't a hitter, but he kind of defines your build.
Yeah, very good. Rocky Raccoon says, Roth, you called the O'Doyle rules dong yesterday for Brenton Doyle. Yes, I did.
Did you steal that from somebody, or you came up with that on your own?
I did, actually. Yes, I have no original thoughts outside of weather. Who is your O'Doyle rules call of the day? It's Mike Trout. It's not even a question.
Come on, easy.
We're getting a Trout missile. It's happening tonight. What are the odds on that, Beer? If you know anyone who bet it, you just.
Well, I bet it earlier plus 275. If you want to tail that, Roth, I can send you the slip and everything. And
if you want to tail my call, you're allowed to.
Yes, get it. That's what I did. I tailed your call.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we got plenty of time. We do not have a lot of questions. So if you have some questions, make sure you're getting those in. Scrolling up.
We could always talk a little football here, too.
Well, Hammer says
Mr. Best Ball in the house. So
are your weather thoughts original? Now, yes, that's all up here, baby.
Are you?
Do
Is
I,
it
do
you
I
or the
tell
other?
them that I feed you all the weather information every morning?
Don't
before
start that rumor.
I won't start the.
Yeah. Hammer says, do people still play season-long fantasy? Beer absolutely does.
Oh yeah,
A lot of it.
ton. In fact, I was just mapping out my calendar, and my wife, as always, how many leagues are you in this year? And it's about to be. It's almost every day starting next weekend. I think I have 11, 12 drafts lined up. Some 2 in one day. Go to Vegas and do some drafts.
Insane.
Yes.
I love that for you, man.
Love
That's so great that you enjoy doing that and that you are able to is just phenomenal. Beimfohr, you got any season-long stuff going on?
I do. We'll do a couple main events. Me and a buddy do some FFPC stuff. But tomorrow, Roth, is a big day. It's my high school buddies. We started this dynasty league when I was a junior in high school. Notably, I'm 37, so this is year 20 of this league, and it's pretty much all still the same guys in our draft is tomorrow. So it's a big day. Somehow we turn a 5-round draft into several hours of activity.
I could think of a way that could happen.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could. That's incredible. Have you won the league,
dude?
Before?
No.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
They must shit on you so
hit-
hard for that.
you hit a soft spot here, Rob.
It's the worst. Why do you think I'm drinking at the draft? Because I got to get through the fact that I talk about this for a living and I've never won the league.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's
Man,
always
all
the
right.
worst. Like, if I'm in leagues, and if you don't win every single league, I thought you were an expert, and you have
Yeah.
to deal with all. So there is additional pressure in some of these.
Definitely.
I use the excuse that they know who I like. And so like if I want someone, I have to pay like a 50% markup in a trade or something. And it's like I start bidding on somebody in an auction. Somebody comes in, they're like, oh, Erik likes it. So I got to start I'm like decoy bidding and and I'm like it's insane. I like galaxy bury myself out of stuff in these stupid leagues.
My favorite is trades in those leagues. As soon as I approach somebody, like, oh, you want him? No, I can't.
Yeah, hell no. I'm
know
not trading him
something
now.
I don't know. I'm not trading him.
Yeah, that's funny. I want to keep updated on your season. So as we go through, whether we're talking, basketball or whatever, I want to know how it's going for both of you, but especially I want to know that specific season, that team.
Yes.
Got basketball too. Fire and draft. I probably don't have nearly as many as Erik, but firing every day on those things.
No one should have as many as I do.
Did you max out one of these like 150 drafts or something insane?
They just there's a ton. I'll probably get to like 1,500 or so total.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking 150, not 1,500. We're
no,
different.
150.
Max 10 of them, bro.
150, in several different tournaments. Yeah,
that's fully insane. All right, we got a few questions in. We got 7 minutes until lock. Should be plenty of time. Jorge says, Beer, your favorite catcher at 2,900 or less on DK Cash?
Let me look here. 2,900 and less. Oof, that's a rough. I mean, I kind of cut off at Yainer Diaz. Erik, you got anybody you like?
For me, Freddie Fermin is the best projected guy at 2,300.
I don't like going down that low, so I would make some adjustments. Get up to Diaz and change something.
Let's see. You about many home run calls. Yes, we gave out some home run calls just recently. Beer, another one for you from Scott. FanDuel outfield, Anthony or Abreu?
Anthony.
I think I need to ask both of you gentlemen this one. A meatball hoagie or a cheesesteak? A Philly cheesesteak or a meatball hoagie?
Oh,
Beer, you can go first.
That's tough. I mean, you're talking two of my favorites here. I'm going to go cheesesteak, but they are both like in my top echelon of sandwiches, whatever you want to group them in. It's kind of like the pizza argument earlier. Can't really go wrong, but a good Philly is phenomenal. So Philly would be the answer.
It's because they're both delicious. You're going to enjoy them both, but the best cheesesteak is far better than the best meatball.
Yes. These are such good takes. I couldn't agree more. I'm such a Philly cheesesteak fanatic that I have worked at 3 different cheesesteak restaurants, chefing up cheese just so I could get the free cheesesteaks. When I was in college, I was just like, yeah, that was my gigs, man. Let's see. Beer wakes up every morning and texts Roth to see what his action for the day is going to be.
Oh yeah,
true.
It's been a ruse this whole time.
Yeah.
Roth's been the man behind the curtain. And I've just been the pretty face you see on the show here.
Yeah. Hey, it's me, says Beimfohr. Bregman, Duran, or Bregman, Duran, or Anthony for a bomb.
I still think it's Anthony.
Okay. Beer, Bregman, Duran, or Anthony for a bomb.
I gave you Duran since I had to replace Mike Trout, so I'll stick with my call of Duran at plus 600.
Okay. Let's see. Scrolling down a little bit. Scrolling down.
And while those Boston home run prices seem crazy to me. Like they seem way higher than they should be, which then you're like,
You start questioning.
Do they know something about Sandy that I don't know?
Right. Jim Beer says Duran or Altuve raw points.
I'm gonna go Duran there, but Altuve, I don't think we mentioned, but he is projecting very well. But I'll go with Duran. I think they're gonna put some numbers up.
Okay. Beimfohr got a question from J Sam's. Last piece of a Houston mini, Sanchez, Altuve, or Walker.
I'm gonna go Walker over Altuve, but it's close.
Roth, when you're outside and you look up, where does air end and the sky begin? I don't know. I don't know. My mind.
I want whatever that guy's having.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, this way, man. 5,300. Beimfohr is Ronald Acuna lock button at 5,300.
No.
Okay. Let's see what else we got. Rocky Raccoon says, how come everybody loves Miami the last few months, no matter who they go against? Now today they're against the most volatile pitcher in history, and it's crickets, Beer.
I think there's a lot of appealing options tonight. I think there's people trying to pivot off the Diamondbacks, and there's a lot of teams projected for 5-ish runs, and they're not really popping. So I don't mind it because Giolito's one of those guys. He can look like Cy Young or he can look like me pitching. So it's not a bad idea to stack them up.
Okay. Your favorite stack in a FanDuel tournament, Beer?
I'm going to say the Mariners. Off the radar, nobody's going to have them.
Beimfohr, I'd like to ask you that as well. Your favorite stack in a FanDuel tournament?
Tigers.
Mm-hmm. Very good. FanDuel GPP, Beimfohr. Last piece, Correa or Toro, parentheses, completes a Boston mini stack.
Oof. Correa.
Okay, very good. If it was normal lock, if it was American lock, we would be ending the show right now. We got 2 more minutes. If you've got questions, we'll take them. If not, we can't leave 2 minutes early. Dean's going to make fun of me. Dean always says, I can't make it to the end of shows. Hammer says, why can't the Cubs hit anymore? Beer, why can't the Cubs hit anymore?
It's a great question. I don't mind it, seeing them falling off a little bit just as a Brewers fan, but Erik might know more than it's been shocking. And I keep trying to play them. I keep trying to bet. Like PCA has fallen off the face of the earth after looking like Shohei of this year. He was on pace for 40-40 and he's just disappeared. So I'm not sure analytics wise what's going on, but as a Brewers fan, I'm loving it. Not going to lie.
Beimfohr, you got an answer other than
I think PCA could be hitting a little bit of it's not, I guess, technically a rookie wall, but sort of kind of like a rookie wall, especially as a lefty. I think, you naturally struggle more against left-handed pitching, so teams can start to figure out a little bit. And I think he's struggling with some chase problems. Kyle Tucker, I don't know what the heck's going on with Kyle Tucker. It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe the likes of Carson Kelly isn't the reincarnation of Babe Ruth. Shocker, Carson Kelly is who we thought he was. But as a Cardinals fan who is enduring this absolutely miserable season and watching Brewers just run away with the division, at least the Cubs sucking for a little while has been enjoyable.
We could all agree on that, baby.
Yeah. Hey, I should have talked about this when we were all busy discussing football and Best Buy and all of that. But we've got some great content for you, of course, over at RotoGrinders. Really all across the whole RotoGrinders network. But Fantasy Labs, one of those spots, can be your home for some season-long fantasy football and best ball content. You get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more from some award-winning experts. Fantasy Lab has an app that lets you get real-time rankings, draft cheat sheets, and lineup advice on the go. And you can sign up now with code RG15 for $15 off. So make sure you are taking advantage of that. We have hit the lock. And it's Friday night, and it's time to clear on out of here, watch some baseball. So for Beimfohr and Beer and our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been